Well, good morning. You've had 2 speakers to wake you up. 3 speakers, as a matter of fact. Good morning. Thank you. Well, guys, I want to thank you for coming here from all over the world, from Latin America, a number of countries, but also from here in the United States. I know a number of folks from Europe are here. We really appreciate you spending time with us. I'm actually celebrating the beginning of my 5th month at F5 with you today. And the last 5 months for me has been an incredible journey. It's been really exciting getting to meet the F5 employees all over the world, meeting our customers, trying to understand better what we do well, what we need to do differently. And the last 5 months also joining F5 has been a momentous change for me personally. And that's quite fitting because change is what I want to talk about today. There's been a lot of change in our industry, and there's a lot of change coming. And today I wanted to take the opportunity to share with you how my past experiences with change have shaped how I look at change. And I wanted to leave you with one message, that in F5 you have a partner that is not only going to adapt to change, but is going to lead through change, and is going to make all of us more relevant and more impactful in 5 or 10 years than we are today in this industry. So I want to start talking about change and sharing with you a personal experience. Really my first vivid memory of what change looked like for me. I grew up in Togo, a small country on the west coast of Africa. And I was very happy in Togo until someday at the age of 14, my mother came to me and said, "We're going to move to France." And I was really upset. In fact, I was devastated because I knew when she said that I would lose most of the things that I cherished. My friends, my school, the street in my neighborhood where I played soccer every day, the local food, which I loved. I had a big family. My father had 15 siblings, so I had a lot of cousins. And I knew I was going to miss my cousins. I still meet new cousins every time I go to Togo, by the way. That's what happened when you have 15 uncle and aunts. But my mother had made a choice, so I knew I was going to lose all that. Most importantly, I was an entrepreneur. I had started a little chicken breeding in our garden, and I thought I was a chicken farmer on the rise. I was selling eggs in our neighborhood, and my little egg business was growing, and all of that was going to go away, moving to France. I had no choice. So a few weeks later, I found myself in a small apartment in the suburbs of Paris, getting ready to start a new school year with my siblings. And that change at the beginning was every bit as hard as I had imagined. I had to adapt to a new school system, new ways of learning. I had to make new friends. At the beginning it was hard because people would make fun of me because I had a funny accent, a funny name, a funny nationality. The weather got cold very quickly. I discovered what the cold really was, what snow looked like. Wasn't that cold in Paris, but as far as I'm concerned, it might as well have been Alaska. And there was nobody in the street. That was the other thing, is in Togo, everybody lives in the streets because it's warm all the time. In Paris, in the winter, there's nobody in the street to hang out with. The only thing I wanted to do was go back to Togo. But I could not do that. So I had to stick with it. And over the next few months and years, I started to see opportunities emerge that I couldn't have seen before we made the move. Opportunities to discover a new culture, to make new friends, to learn new languages. Opportunities for higher education, and eventually opportunity for a career in technology that would not have happened otherwise. And over the years, I've thought about this experience, and I've tried to reflect on the lessons I took from this. And the real lesson for me from this first experience of change was that change is hard, and it is scary. But there is something with change I've found, which is sometimes and all the times, there are opportunities in change that you cannot see before you've actually made commitment to the change and taken the first steps. And I'm sure this experience resonates with probably everybody in this room. We've all experienced change in our lives. But that lesson for me has been repeated time and time again over the last 25 years. I've re-experienced this in my personal journey, moving from France to the US, back to Europe, back to the US again. In my career, moving in different functions in organization, moving from R&D to sales, sales to marketing, marketing to general management, back to R&D. And even in the technology transitions that I've experienced with teams, going from complex proprietary hardware to bare metal hardware, transitioning from aggregated systems to disaggregated components, moving from legacy network management systems to next generation SDN controllers. Every time I embarked in one of these transitions, either on my own or with teams, the same lesson came back. That once we were willing to let go of things that we held dear and make commitment to change, then there were new opportunities that came about that we could not see before we had made the commitment. These repeated experiences have shaped how I look at change. And over time, I've become more willing not just to adapt to change, but more willing to trigger change, embrace change, and lead change. And I would put to you that I actually think the only way we continuously grow in our personal lives, in our careers, and even the only way we grow our businesses over time is if we are willing on a regular basis to let go of the things we hold dear and make full commitment to new paradigms. So what does that mean? What does that mean for us here in this room today? What does it mean for F5? What does it mean for the environment we're going into? If you look at our industry and you look at the big trends, to me there are three dynamics that stand out. The first is the cloud. The second is what's going on in the space of security. And the third big dynamic is the Internet of Things. Each of these dynamics, I'm sure for a number of us, can elicit perhaps a visceral fear of change. But if you look at what's really going on in each, you will also see that there are opportunities that emerge that are very interesting for all of us. Let me start with the cloud. We own applications and we own infrastructure. And over time, both are moving to the cloud. If you look at this at face value, that is big time change. But if you look at the way that most organizations will embrace the cloud, they'll actually run applications in multiple public clouds, in most cases in multiple public and private clouds. And as we run applications in these multiple environments, new complexities emerge. How do you manage applications in multiple environments? How do you find problems? For most of us, it's hard enough to troubleshoot applications when your own teams are running there and they are in your own data centers. What happens when these applications are owned by your teams and service providers and in multiple environments? How do you provide a consistency of services across applications in multiple environments? All of these challenges create new opportunities for folks like us who know applications and new infrastructure. Opportunities to emerge even more strategic as we go through this transition than we have been to date. Let's talk about security. The fear of change with security to me is really just the fear of what's next. The last 5 years every year we've been saying has been an unprecedented year in terms of the frequency and the intensity of attacks. And if you read the press over the last 6 months, it seems that we're making these record statements every single month. With applications sprawling across environments, the issues of security for applications become even more complex. There are more vulnerabilities. Our belief system is that there's been a lot of focus on endpoint security. There's been a lot of energy and investment in network security, but there hasn't been nearly as much focus on application security. And I think application security over the next 10 years is going to be a massive challenge, especially application security in multi-cloud environments. Who better than us, who know applications, who know security, to be able to address these challenges? The third trend here is the Internet of Things. And there, the fear of change for me is the fear of being overwhelmed. It's one thing for us to contend with tens of millions of PCs or a few billion mobile phones. It's another thing to contend with tens of billions of devices, each of which need to be activated, need to be connected, and need to be secured. But again, if you look beyond that fear of being overwhelmed, and you look at the opportunity for folks who understand security, and folks who do scale very well, and I'd say that that's one of the things that we do very well, is scale. That, again, is an opportunity for us to emerge as even more strategic post the transition into a world of Internet of Things than we were before. Now, I want to acknowledge that F5 and this community, we are not immune to the disruption that is brought about by these changes. But we have been at the forefront of applications for the last 20 years. And I will tell you categorically that we absolutely intend to be at the forefront of application for the next 20 years. I know that that's not a divine right. We're in the technology industry. No one, no company, no business, no organization has a divine right to be here in 5 or 10 years. And that's why I want you to take away that in F5 you have a partner that intends to be at the forefront of application for the next 20 years, and is going to make the deliberate moves, the bold investments, take the right risks, and lead through change to make sure that this community is even more impactful, more strategically relevant over the next 5 to 10 years in the industry. And I want to be a little specific about what I mean by that in the very short term, in the next 12 to 24 months. A very big priority for this company is making sure that our technology is easy to consume anywhere you choose, on-premise, in co-location data centers, private clouds, public clouds, but also anyhow you choose, as a service, as a perpetual license, hardware or software, or as a subscription. Essentially, we believe in giving you choice. I know for many of you, you're running mission-critical applications in your data centers. Those applications continue to grow and continue to scale, and you want to have F5 continue to invest in the hardware and software that gives you the performance that you need for these applications. And we will absolutely continue to do that. But you will see us significantly step up our investments in new consumption models, making it easier to consume our technology in private clouds and public clouds, making our VEs lighter weight, having better orchestration, reducing the footprint, giving you per app solution for our ADC solutions, and of course making that available on a subscription basis. I am happy, by the way, to let you know that as of 2 weeks ago, the subscription offering on our virtual editions is available from F5, both for on-prem solutions on our virtual edition, private clouds, and public cloud solutions. You will also see us make significant investments in the space of security, specifically in application security. And everything I've said about ADCs is also going to be valid about our security solutions in terms of the variety of consumption models that we are enabling. And lastly, you will see us incubate some interesting growth engines for this community. For example, we are looking at investments in the space of containers, which we think is going to be a massive transition for the industry. We think there's an opportunity for lightweight services inside containerized applications. And you'll see us incubate those types of ideas. We're doing some incubation in the space of the Internet of Things as well. So you will see us make more deliberate moves for things that may not be very significant contributors to our numbers over the next 12 or 24 months, but which we believe will have an impact in the industry over the longer term. Now, being disruptive in our markets, for me, is all about knowing our customers, knowing our users, and understanding what works, what doesn't, and where things are going next. And this is why I will echo what Ben said earlier this morning. This conference is about you. For me, it's really about understanding how you work with F5, how we can move your projects forward, how we can move your career forward, what works, what doesn't work. I feel very privileged. I've had the opportunity to spend some quality time with a few of you already, trying to understand what it is that we need to do better, what it is that we need to do differently, how we're helping and how we're getting in the way. And the guys I've spent some time with have been really candid in their feedback, and I really look forward over the next 36 hours to perhaps spending more time and getting more feedback from you. So with that, I want to thank you again for being here. Thank you for being our toughest critics at times and being our strongest advocates in the market. And I look forward to working with all of you over the next few years. Thank you very much.